All right, man. Talk to talk. What's good with y'all, man? Hope y'all good. Hope everybody's good out here in these mean streets of YouTube. Hey, man, how y'all doing, man? Hope everybody's good. All right, so look, today's episode, we're gonna be talking about Drake ready for round two. Is he really ready for round two? We don't know because every time this topic comes up, he changes his mind. I don't think that Drake is ready for round two. I don't think that we're gonna ever see a round two. I think that it's actually over, but we're gonna check in with Rackaholics and see what he talking about. Before I get into that, I gotta get a legendary spill. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscription today. All the beautiful, single, sexy ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones at. Just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description. Cash App, no more PayPal. They call me the hidden gem. I went from 1,300 subscribers to over 13, 14, 15, 16,000. And yes, I am the king of the north. Let me know what kingdom you from. All right, so let's get to this, man. Let's go. All right, so I'm gonna be dropping a lot of content because I got a lot to say. So you're gonna see a couple of videos come out, and it is what it is. So, all right, so let's get it, man.
Grams. In today's episode of Lawbury in Gentleland, Sandra's sensitive slumber song-singing son, the stunt double of Sexy Red, is slanging steak slogans, going after gambling addicts, and gaveling grand juries, justifying his lawsuits for the loss to the lyrically lethal Little Los Angeles bell-bottom bone crusher. The cutthroat Compton kung fu killer crushed the Canadian defamation drizzler, driving him to duke it out in court. And as legal filings fill the future of the friendly fade, the sentiment is much different than it was during Taylor Made. But even though the Champagne Petition Padres casket has been laid, the bald and bearding belligerent BBL buffoon doesn't seem too afraid. He's ready for a round two of the rhyming raid. And drop a like and subscribe for the rhymes I made. Now, Lawbury's and Gentlegrams.
That was pretty fire. I ain't gonna lie. That was pretty fire. You got that. You got that off. I like that. That was pretty fire.
We got a lot to touch on in this video. We're going to be looking at the past, the present, and the future. There's a lot that we got to dissect here. Now, before we get into what has led up to round two and what we could expect in round two, I think it's fair to give Lawbury a little bit of advice for how to come prepared, all right? This is some advice from his fiercest competitor, the 4'5" feet whipping assassin, Kung Fu Kenny. This is what he had to say after the backlash from his Control verse way back in 2013.
How you doing, dog? Hey man, how you feeling about all the comebacks lately from your Control verse?
You gotta try harder.
All right, man. What do you think about that Meek Mill's "Oh Kill 'Em"? How you feeling about that, man? You see that Jay-Z and P Diddy post? What do you think about that Instagram post they did of you?
That's the big homie.
What comment?
That's the big homie. Everybody else gotta try harder though.
We gotta try harder.
And I think this resonates even more today than it did back then, you know?
That's a competitive man right there. That's a competitive man. I think that Kendrick is so competitive. A lot of people don't even understand the competitive nature of being a competitor like him. I think hip hop is so surrounded with people who believe that hip hop is divisive when you are a competitive person in hip hop. I think they look at it as a diss. If I tell you I want to compete against you, why you want to battle me? It's like battle rap, right? Every person I battle is because I want to battle that person. I don't battle people that I don't want to battle, because I like to see what they have to say about me, and I'm going to say some things about them. I respect every opponent I have. I think a lot of people, when it comes to rap music in general, they take it as a form of disrespect when you are battling somebody, or they say, oh, you taking shots. It's like, no, I'm trying to elevate the competition in here, because that's what makes great music. Pressure bust pipes. You already know that.
As Kendrick said in TV Off, it's not enough. Drizzy ended round one off with possibly the most comical attempts at a diss record in history with the Heart Part 6. After surviving a brutalized beatdown so bad, he had to literally come on record and tell us that he's not Epstein, he's not a PDF. But yet, you still got guys like this defending the Heart Part 6. Let me rage bait you guys real quick with this video.
Yo, the way that Drake went at Kendrick Lamar on the Heart Part 6, he went in like a urologist and surgically dissected Kendrick Lamar's manhood. And every battle rapper knows this. That's why they don't ever want to talk about the Heart Part 6. And once, Rock Nation and UMG, they coordinated attacks. Once they sent their checks out, they just try to systematically bury the Heart Part 6. But man, what's so hard for Kendrick Lamar, this is why he will never be accepted as like the top MC, is because he had no rebuttal for that. And it's embarrassing that you, supposed to be hip-hop's top dog, West Coast savior, and you had no rebuttal for that, Heart Part 6. You dropped 2 trash songs and then a trash album. Nah, I'm not gonna lie, the album, it's alright. But after a Heart Part 6, I can never look at Kendrick Lamar the same. His manhood has been stripped from him. And the only way that he can get it back is to address the Heart Part 6. Till then, I don't want to hear nothing about nothing coming from that Kendrick Lamar camp. Because Drake, a student of the game, knows, like, yo, you make some accusations, I gotta rebut that. So we're waiting, Kendrick Lamar. Do we gotta wait 2 years, another 5 years for you to address the Heart Part 6? Or are you just gonna let that slide? Because real hip-hop heads, inquiring minds, we would like to know.
I have no comment. All right, we want
Bruh. That has to be the dumbest clip I ever seen in my life on YouTube. It's so dumb, it's laughable and upsetting at the same time, bro. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. That was dumb as hell. Listen, bro. You can't tell somebody how to engage into a war or a battle. That's number one. Number two, you contradicted your own statement by saying, I can never listen to anything after the Heart Part 6. But then you said you listened to G and X and it was all right. That came after the Heart Part 6. This is what I mean when I say a lot of these people online just be talking because there's a camera in front of them. They just talk because they have a mouth. That's it. They don't even think these things through. You really sat there and said that you do not like Kendrick Lamar. You don't want to hear nothing from Kendrick Lamar. Not that you don't like him. You don't want to hear nothing from Kendrick Lamar. But you said until he addressed the Heart Part 6. But then you went on record and said that you like G and X. And that came after the Heart Part 6. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, the hypocrisy is crazy. It's crazy, man. And I got so much more to say, but I'm gonna get to that another time. Let's keep it going.
Bias Media here. We want both perspectives. This is the Aubrey's Angels perspective. All right. Now, Aubrey has been teasing round 2 or game 2 or gavel guzzling 2 ever since the Heart Part 6 dropped, and everyone in the world except for the guy in the video that I just showed you guys unanimously declared Kendrick victorious, and the Heart Part 6 being so bad it didn't even warrant a second response. You had him sharing posts like this on his Finsta page.
I'll put it in the front page, back page, middle page, wherever. Headliners, column 1 or 2, we will win game 2. We will win game 2.
Then you had Aubrey's Big Mac munching, Burger King cobbling, grimace-shaped gram guzzling, Blazer, DJ Academics, emphasizing that game 2, Drake will certainly win.
But game 2, we will win.
Game 2 chat? We having game 2 chat?
Game 2, we will win. That's a fact. If you think Drake finna...
I'm still in amazement how people say we when it comes to Drake. Drake fans say we as if Kendrick. This is how you know that a lot of these people are messed up in their head. Kendrick Lamar battled Drake. He didn't battle you, academics. He didn't battle y'all. He battled Drake. So when you say, yeah, we gonna win. We gonna win. Like, how did he get y'all to that point where he made y'all feel like y'all are inside of him and y'all rapping? He's like, y'all rapping through him vicariously. Like, yeah. Like, I don't understand it. I'm mind blown by that comment right there. We will win. Like, we? You didn't even talk to this dude in person. You never even met him in person. Talking about we. Like, yo, that's crazy.
Abandon and forsake all them fans. You gotta realize this for the fans right here. You think he gonna let some pussy ass nigga have something over him, his legacy, and his fans? No.
And you see how he say that, like as if he know these people. This is how you know a lot of these dudes on the internet, they just internet thugs, bro. I never seen nothing like this in real time. You're calling Kendrick a nigga, bro. You don't even know this dude, bro, and you're calling him that. Like, I just don't get it, bro. I don't get it.
Oh. You heard the Big Mac mascot. You really think Drake was gonna let Kendrick Lamar have something over him? Without putting up a fight, without putting up a round 2? Nah, you're following through. The narrative back then was Drake in 5.
This the new thing. Drake in 5. Remember, I told you that. What's understood don't need to be explained. Y'all gonna watch it. Y'all are watching it.
Now, mind you, this was way back in August, and quickly after all this round 2 tough talk, Kendrick announced that he'd be the Super Bowl halftime performer in 2025, and very shortly after that, the only talk about another round was Academic's round body shape, because all that tough talk about round 2 was quickly shut down when Kendrick said this.
You know there's only one opportunity to win a championship. No round 2s. Let's get it.
Nah, after this, it was walkbacks and Big Macs. As Academic said, we got it all misconstrued. When Drake says he's gonna win round 2, he's not talking about no rap battle with Kendrick. He doesn't want that smoke anymore. Apparently, he's on to bigger and better things.
Maybe I've misled some of the masses. When Drake says round 2, none of that has to do with him about to be beefing with Kendrick. Oh, he wants to go.
I swear to God, bro. This is crazy, bro. I swear on everything. I never seen anything like this. The walkbacks, the hypocrisy, the switching side. I never seen nothing like this. So now, you hear what he's saying now versus what he was saying before. And now this is what he's saying. I know this is old, but it's unreal, bro. It's unreal. I never said, yo, you literally said, you think that his fans, this is for the fans. You think his fans gonna let some nigga get over on him? He gonna do this for the fans. Drake in 5. And bro, I swear, bro, I never seen nothing like this, bro.
That is not the thing. Now, I'm not here to expound not only my thoughts, but some of what I believe I know about this round 2 thing. Drake has no desire to be like, let's go bar for bar again. Let's go song for song. But round 2 got nothing to do with I'm trying to battle with Kendrick Lamar again.
And keep in mind, again, this was way back in...
Then that's not a round 2. Yo, what round 2 is there? There's not a... If he's not battling Kendrick, then it's not a round 2, idiot. Like, I don't understand. Why do y'all say that? Like, why do people say this? I seen people online saying, yeah, Drake gonna win game 2, but it's not a battle with Kendrick. Then it's not a game 2 then. What? It's a separate game. That's a whole start of a new game. It's not a game 2. He's not battling Kendrick. If he ain't battling Kendrick, then he ain't winning a round 2. Like, I don't understand it.
In August and September. The reason I bring this up is because Drake is still talking about round 2s in the next chapters, which we're going to touch on very shortly. But let's try to understand what round 2 really means, right? Because it's pretty obvious they're not going back and forth on diss tracks again. Drake is literally suing over a diss track. I don't think he has any jurisdiction to start throwing out diss tracks of his own at this point. But from the looks of what his mouthpiece Academics has been implying, and from what we've seen from both Drake and Kendrick Lamar, round 2 is really when the dust settles, you know, when the party dies, as Kendrick puts it. Where do these two who ruled at the top of hip-hop, where do they take it from here on out? Who becomes the voice of the culture? Who becomes the most commercially successful artist? What direction does hip-hop take overall? What moves do these two make to cement their legacies, not just in general, because they've already done that, but what statements do they make after the battle to show, you know, what I set out to accomplish by saying F the big 3, it's just big me, or Drake saying, you know, I get more love in the city that you're from? Round 2 is showing improving. Round 2 is showing that we can still reign as supreme, if not more supreme than we did prior to this beef. With Drake, it's him showing, you know, this battle left no chink in my armor. My fans still love me. I still got all my fans. And for Kendrick, it's, you know, I just took down what I perceive to be a poison within the culture. I have the crown now. I'm the one dictating where the culture goes from here on out. And we're going to break it down, but really we have been witnessing round 2 ever since the Heart Part 6. We are living in the Kendrick era. And what I mean by that is, as we know, before this beef, Drake was the numbers guy. He was the king of streaming. The numbers were what dictated not only his success, but his legacy, his greatness. On First Person Shooter, when he's saying, you know, who the GOAT, it wasn't classic albums that could back that up. It wasn't cultural impact. It was his success on the charts. I mean, look at ever since 2015, 10 years ago, who has been the most streamed rapper of every single year.
That's the top 10 most streamed rappers each year of the last decade. 2024. I'm assuming Drake is on this list a lot. You might be correct. I'm not sure. 2024 is Kendrick Lamar. 2024 is not Kendrick. Is it Drake? It is Drake. Okay. 14 billion streams. Are you going to make a point right now and just all of these are Drake? 2023. Drake.
Drake is 17.6 billion streams. I caught you right now. I caught you in your boots. What about 2022? Is it Drake? Drake. 13.4 billion streams. What about 2021? Drake. 8.6 billion streams. Shocking. What about 2020? Is it Drake? Drake. 5.6 billion. 2019. Drake Bell. No, not Drake Bell. Drake. 6.4 billion streams. 2018. Drake. Drake. 8.2 billion streams. 2017. That one I feel like is a little different. Drake. Drake. 6 billion streams. 2016. Drake. 4.7 billion streams. 2015. Drake. No, but Drake. 1.8 billion streams. That comes to a total of 86.3 billion streams over the last 10 years. Drake has dominated cross platforms as a rapper. Yeah. So you're saying he is the GOAT?
Again, this is what they all focus on. They don't care about the quality of the music. All they care about is the streams and what numbers look like. They don't care about the quality. And this is the reason why I say all that doesn't even matter. That don't matter. And again, most of those songs is probably the same songs. And he ain't talking about, when they say, this you gotta understand, right? When you talk about streams, if we're not talking about nuance and we're only talking about, that's the thing about streams. And that's why I said streams is very tricky, because it doesn't matter what artist it is. And we ain't just talking about Drake, we're just saying in general, it doesn't matter what artist it is. When you have streams, right? Streams to me, it's not like buying an album. It's a forever on repeat thing. So let's just put it this way without me saying certain things. That could be manipulated. Buying an album can't be. You just buy it, or if somebody could buy the albums, but they have to purchase them. So even if they say, I purchased a million of my own albums, it's still, you brought the album. See, streams are forever, which means he's probably going to get these numbers like this all the time. It's never going to stop because people like these songs. They're going to keep going. I mean, like within the last 86 billion streams, so obviously. But if we calculate that up into if he was to sell albums every year, it wouldn't be that way, because albums are only for one time selling and that's it. It's not for it's not to constantly keep repeating. And I think that's the biggest issue with streaming. Even though they making more money, the record labels, it's the biggest issue to me, because people like this, they use it against people. Say, well, look, it's all the streams he had. Well, let's go back to how many albums he sold physical copies. Because Drake is the internet. He's the internet guy. That's what it is. But at the same time, everybody takes a fall. So let's see what happens.
I'm not saying that. You're saying. But I'm going to ask you a question. Is Drake the most popular rapper of all time? I think he's definitely the most popular rapper. Maybe musician. Not musician. I think Michael Jackson's more popular than him. But Drake has more hits than Michael Jackson. Yeah, I didn't see Kendrick Lamar at all on this list.
I mean, in this whole streaming era, right, Drake has been the first rapper to sell, and the last rapper to sell, 1 million in the first week, 900K in the first week, 800K, 700K, 6, 5, and 400K in the first week. No other rapper has done that since Drake. So to take Drake out, you really got to take out the one thing that he holds closest to his legacy, which is the numbers. And in the battle, that's exactly what Kendrick did. There's a reason why Drake is suing over Not Like Us and not Meet the Grams, right? Even though Meet the Grams was a lot more scathing, Not Like Us was the hit. Not Like Us was the one that is the longest running song in the top 10 on Billboard of this entire decade. Not Like Us was the one that everyone was singing at the Super Bowl, at the Grammys. And that's Drake's kryptonite. If he's still the numbers guy, nothing else really matters to him. So for Kendrick to win this quote-unquote round 2, it's about dismantling that kryptonite, neutralizing those superpowers, as he puts it. Round 2 is the battle on the charts, the battle on public perception of, who's really running this thing right now. And it's been a close fight all throughout the entirety of 2025 so far. We're like almost a quarter into 2025, and if you take a look, this is the first year in over 10 years that Drake is not leading by a wide margin in terms of who is the most streamed rapper of the year. So far,
this is what I mean. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Now and again, Drake is only number 1. Well, at the top. He's only at the top because this is his old stuff streaming still. His old stuff, people love his old stuff. I'm going to sit here and lie about it. People love the man old stuff. This is not his new stuff. This is all his old stuff. So everything that he's doing, he's successful off of songs that came out years ago. It's not his new stuff. Now people say, well, does it really matter if it's his old stuff? It's still his stuff. Yeah, but this is the point that people are making. You're not good. You're just on cruise control right now because all your old stuff is keeping you afloat. But once that's over, you're over. Basically.
So far, even with an album out, he is the most streamed rapper of the year with 3.3 billion streams so far. But Kendrick is extremely close to him with 3.37 billion streams. The gap has never been closer, and Kendrick has the opportunity this year to take that crown of being the highest selling rapper of the year, dismantling Drake's 10-year run at the top. But obviously, round 2 isn't just about the charts, right? It's about cultural impact. It's about the moves that each artist makes this year to cement themselves as the one who really controls the rest of the decade. So let's look at the moves that both rappers have made since the Heart Part 6. You had Drake delete all of his diss tracks off of Instagram, basically try to wipe the history of the beef completely off of his timeline. He gave us about 12 songs in 2024 off of his Instagram account Plot Twist. None of them really left an impact on the charts or in the clubs, even though they were perfectly designed for the clubs. You had him make a short transition into becoming a streamer, a stake-sponsored streamer, pushing gambling addiction on the streaming community, linking up with streamers XQC and Aiden Ross on those streams, talking about rap being weird, and telling XQC to turn off his Fragile Ops music like The Weeknd or Steve Lacy. Then he did 2 moves that, in my opinion, were actually kind of smart. First of all, he took his maple syrup mob boss persona out of America as the entire world chanted, "Not like us," and he left the Canadian cold to go to the summer sunshine of Australia to embark on a small tour and remind himself that he still loved globally. He still got fans all across the world. It was at that show where he announced that he would be completing a solo album and having a one-on-one talk with his fan base in the near future. He also walked out on stage in a sweatshirt that had bullet holes in it with smoke coming out of it, symbolizing the fact that the entire industry tried to take him down, but he's still standing. I think the idea of...
I'm going to stop him there, and then I'll let him continue. I think that was the dumbest thing he could have did. I think at this point, a lot of times what Drake does is just stunts. He's just doing a bunch of stunts. He's not doing nothing that's actually really good. Everything he's doing is stunts. So I think that for him to sit here and act as if he's the victim, I think this is the reason why he's losing so much so quickly. Because people see that he's not a victim and he's trying to be. Like, come on, bro.
Going over to Australia while, the Super Bowl and the Grammys were happening wasn't a bad idea. Not only did it probably distract Drake himself from everything that was going on at those events, but it also optic-wise showed the world that, he could still perform in front of these massive crowds. They'll still chant his music. It's almost like he was living in a completely different universe in Australia where this beef never happened. Simultaneously, he took a break from rap to put the world to sleep with his Sexy Sleepy Lullaby Love Songs Party Next Door collaboration album. And while it didn't get the best reviews, think about it like this, right? If Drake put out a rap album and it was reviewed as poorly as that Party Next Door album was, it would look like he was washed. It would look like hip-hop was done with him, especially if it was a solo album and it sold as poorly as that album did. He has the...
But I get what he's saying here, but it doesn't make a difference. If Drake had dropped a solo album, it would have probably did the same exact thing. But see, the thing is, people are waiting for Drake to respond to Kendrick. Even though the battle is over for some people, they're still waiting for that because they're looking at it like, this guy Kendrick really smoked you. We need you to do something. We need a hit. We need something to come back. Because, again, they don't want to argue with actual songs. They want to argue with actual hits. That's why they always bringing up, oh, he has more streams, or Drake is still the biggest. It's like they don't care about the quality of the music. They just want to have him win by he is the biggest artist. So even if he came out with something and he sold one less copy than Kendrick, they would have said, well, UMG is working against him, and on top of that, Drake's still streaming more. And it's like, no matter what Kendrick do, they're always going to say Drake is the winner. Drake could literally fall off and all his music could go into the toilet. They're going to say, well, the reason why is because UMG did it. They did it. It wasn't Kendrick. They did it. They ended Drake's career. Kendrick did some songs. That didn't do anything. It was UMG. That's who did it. I'm telling you, bro.
Excuse of saying, oh, this album was just for the ladies. It was an R&B album. It was a collaboration album with a smaller artist. Of course it wasn't going to sell as well. Of course this was only for a certain segment of my fan base. He really followed Kendrick's advice when Kendrick said, I like Drake with the melodies, I don't like him when he act tough. And I think that was the right move at the right time. Take your time with the solo album, get as vulnerable as possible, give us some of your best hip-hop music that we've ever gotten from you, but again, take the time to craft that. In the meantime, distract the public with a couple hits, with a couple slow jams, shift the conversation from, did Kendrick destroy Drake at the Super Bowl to did Drake destroy his own career with this new R&B project? It was all a distraction, obviously, because he ended up canceling the rest of his Australian tour. Was it due to low ticket sales? Was it due to scheduling conflicts? We don't necessarily know, but that's where we're at with Drake for round 2 for the time being so far. We'll get back to Drake shortly, but we got to talk about how Kendrick Lamar has taken a disgustingly vile lead in this race for who's going to take first place of round 2. Now, this is more of a marathon than a race, right? Because it's not a rap battle. It's who in the long term is going to cement their legacy as the clear leader of this next generation. And Kendrick Lamar has been making his case, building that brick by brick incredibly over the last few months. So let's go through that. But first, Lawbreeds and Gentlegrams, I want to tell you guys about something that, unlike Drake, a bunch of you guys have been telling me I need a max.
The thing about Drake and Kendrick taking his lead, I think that the simplest explanation would be everybody falls. I think that a lot of people became accustomed to Drake winning so much that they just believe that he's going to win regardless. Because they're in their head, he's been winning for years, then what's the difference now? Again, these people don't care about the quality of the music. They only care about, and this is what happened to hip hop. What happened to hip hop was people started caring about the numbers and not the quality. And that's why we're where we're at today. And this is the reason why it's going to be very difficult. Even if Drake was to come out with an album that's good, in my opinion, it could be a great album, but people are not going to care. Because it's a little too late. And he could sell, but people are not going to care because it's a little too late. Your impact at the time, you had enough impact to do something to actually elevate and change the game to the point where it was great. At this point, you have somebody in position that is doing something that most rappers gonna have to learn how to adapt to. And I don't know, man.
$150 just to play a game on your phone. Now, Kendrick Lamar round 2. He announces the Super Bowl in September, simultaneously declaring the party dead. All the toxicity within the culture has been wiped out with him, putting a chink in the armor of the artist who embodies all the toxic elements within hip hop that Kendrick was discussing. Then he goes on to give us GNX, really giving a platform to a lot of lesser known artists from his city on that project, bringing new faces into the culture. And we're going to talk about GNX shortly because the success of of that album alone relative to Drake's Sexy Sleepy Love Songs album is kind of showing you where we're headed. And of course, Drake and all the OV hoes are creating conspiracies about bots pushing the success of that project. But if you want to put things in perspective, Lefty Gunplay, who was featured on GNX, has been in the top 10 of the Billboard charts for more weeks in 2025 than Drake has. And that's all thanks to Kendrick. I'm forgetting some other moments, the Not Like Us music video, the pop out. Then of course he cements Not Like Us as being the most legendary diss track of all time, potentially winning 5 Grammy Awards, becoming the most awarded hip hop song of all time, even one of the most awarded songs in general of all time. 5 Grammy Awards just for that one song. And there's only a short list of artists who have won that many Grammy Awards in one night. You got like Michael Jackson, Lauryn Hill, Beyonce, and Kendrick Lamar did it all from one record, just to put it into perspective. Then of course you had the Super Bowl, which was like the final nail in the coffin. And on Drake's side, you had him pushing lawsuits in hopes of getting Not Like Us restricted from being performed on that Super Bowl stage. And it's not done yet, right? Round 2 is going to continue all throughout the summer, with Drake potentially dropping his new album, which we'll touch on shortly, with Kendrick embarking on his stadium tour with SZA. We're even getting a new Kendrick movie with the creators of South Park, Matt Stone and Trey Parker. On a side note, I might start an entire channel dedicated to analyzing different South Park episodes. Drop a comment if you guys keep up with South Park and if you would want that. And any other type of non-Drake and Kendrick related content you'd want to see on this channel. Obviously, we cover an immense amount of Drake and Kendrick content. I have a ton of other projects coming for you guys that are completely unrelated to this beef. So drop a comment on what else you'd want to see on this channel. But yeah, let's get into the numbers for a little bit, right? Because we've been eating good, right? After the beef, both of them have dropped brand new albums to kind of set the stage on what path they're taking their individual careers in.
Now, I want to speak on that real quick. I feel the same way about that too. If you want me to speak on other things, just say it in the comments. Yo, you should react to this, or you should talk about this, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about it. Yeah, just let me know, because I love doing this content. It doesn't matter to me. I could do this all day. I love doing Kendrick and Drake. I love doing all types of content when it comes to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But what else do you guys like out there? Let me know. So now, as far as the albums go, yeah, you see the clear difference between the two. You see the clear difference. And I understand why Drake used Party to try to make it seem like, well, it wasn't my album, it was his album. And it's like, no, dog, you was more on the album than he was. Cut it out.
We've touched on the sales and the chart positions for both these albums. GNX massively outsold Sexy Sleepy Love Songs, and even though that album is basically brand new, just a couple weeks old, records from GNX continue blocking Drake from hitting #1 on every single chart. I mean, this is a look at the Apple Music chart. Keep in mind, Drake's album basically just came out, and you have Luther, a 3-month-old song, at #1, blocking Drake's Nokia. You had 30 for 30 with Kendrick and SZA at #3, Not Like Us at #4, TV Off at #5. You even got a Doechii song doing more numbers than a lot of the new Drake songs off this album. And that's just the Apple Music charts. Take a look at the Spotify charts, where last week, not one Drake song from this new album hit the top 5 of the most streamed songs by rappers. It was all Kendrick and SZA songs and one Weeknd song. And of course, this has Drake and his fans screaming and yelling, talking about this being some massive conspiracy from the higher-ups to tear Drake down, make his numbers look bad on purpose, prop Kendrick's numbers up on purpose, make it look like Kendrick is outselling him when he's really not. But again, numbers don't lie, man. We've proven on this channel before that Spotify removed...
Now you see how this works? It works like whenever it's someone else streaming. This is how you know a lot of these people, they only care about Drake and his numbers, because it's impossible for another artist to actually do what Drake did. That's how you know a lot of them believe. If they believe that these things was real from Drake, then they're smoking, because it's like, okay, so nobody can ever do what Drake did. Only he can do that. No artist can actually come up with something that everybody likes and everybody wants to hear. Only Drake can do that. That's what makes me mad about this whole thing with the fans. It's disgusting to see.
All the botted streams of songs that had bots on them, and no Kendrick streams were affected, meaning that there was no bots on those songs. But Drake is still liking posts like this that imply there's conspiracies going on, where it says, still waiting. The more these labels play these new games, and honestly at this point are just begging for federal investigation into their petty payola games, it's going to get more and more exposed. There's going to be questions as to why, for the first time in history, multiple times in the same calendar year, there's been multiple coinky dink delays on a system system that's never really failed to have results early, but now have delays that go into the following week. The fact that Drake keeps up with no airplay lets you know a lot. And what they're referring to here is the delay that Billboard had in their numbers for last week of the highest selling albums, because some crazy things went down to show you just how close the battle on the charts is between Drake and Kendrick, even though, again, Kendrick released this album 3 months ago and Drake only released his album 3 weeks ago. For last week's charts, Kendrick was predicted to go number 1 with GNX, while Some Sexy Sleepy Songs was supposed to go number 2, but Kendrick was only supposed to sell about 1,000 copies more than Drake, meaning that the amount of sales that both of them got for that number 1 spot would be so extremely close. And this is so symbolic of like how the tides are turning and how close both of them are in terms of battling out who the biggest hip hop artist is right now. And the post that Drake liked that was talking about, you know, Billboard being corrupt and delaying their chart announcement was due to the fact that before the official numbers were reported and Kendrick went number 1 and Drake went number 2, there was a big delay in the charts. Usually they're announced on, I believe, Monday morning, and it took about a full day for them to actually report the numbers. It was only released on Tuesday. This made the OV hoes believe that, you know, they were fudging the numbers, making sure that Kendrick got that number 1 spot, pulling out some fake bots.
Like, why would they do that? Like, what is this all for? So now y'all saying that Billboard is a part of this systematic takedown of Drake. So it's Billboard, let me get this right. So it's UMG, Billboard, Spotify, iHeart, and UMG, Billboard, Spotify, iHeart. It's an all conspiracy to take down Drake. That's basically what they're saying. It's all a conspiracy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy.
At the last minute to make sure Drake didn't hit that number 1 spot, and that's why the charts were delayed. But in the end, Kendrick ended up beating him out by less than 500 copies. I don't think you guys realize how small of a discrepancy that really is, and how ironic it is that it's both Drake and Kendrick having that small of a discrepancy. Drake sold 90,000 copies, Kendrick sold 90.5 thousand copies. And I mean, again, what's so funny about all this is that GNX came out over 3 months ago, while Some Sexy Sleepy Songs is only 3 weeks old. Kendrick is doing this with an album that's been out almost 4 times as long as this Drake album has. And next week, again, Kendrick is looking to beat Drake out. GNX will sell 84.3 thousand copies next week, and Sexy Sleepy Songs will sell 78.8 thousand copies. Just to show you the longevity of Kendrick within this round 2. And I mean, look at this whole decade, bro. In terms of artists who have spent the most weeks at number 1 in this decade, Kendrick has Drake beaten out by a wide margin with 10 weeks at number 1, Drake having only 7. And shout out to Roddy Ricch. I mean, with the box alone, he has 18 weeks at number 1 on Billboard charts. We haven't seen him at number 1 since the first year of the 2020s decade. Kendrick this week is also number 1, not just on the Billboard chart, but also on the songs chart, as Luther is still number 1. GNX is number 1 on the albums chart. Of course, Academics TV had to spread their propaganda. I can't even speak right now. Disregard that, but they tweeted out saying, despite having no airplay and being suppressed by Spotify, Apple, iTunes, and UMG, Drake's Nokia went from number 10 to number 13 back to number 10. This is what an organic hit feels like. And I mean, they held.
Yo, this is what I'm talking about. So look, so now it's Apple too. So you got Apple, UMG, Spotify, iHeart, Billboard. They all trying to systematically take down Drake. Like, this is crazy. This is what an organic hit feels like. Bro. Again, they take any win, like any win. If Kendrick Lamar would have came out with a song that was number 6, they would say, that's not a hit. It ain't number 1. It's not a hit. It's not a hit, bro.
Seriously shared the Billboard Hot 100 in trying to defend Drake. Meanwhile, they're just making Kendrick look better, as he has Luther at number 1, Not Like Us at number 3, which they replaced with Bought Like Us. And then number 4 is TV Off. So 3 songs alone.
That's corny as shit, bro. That's corny, bro. That's corny, bro. I could never take none of these niggas serious, bro. I could never take anything Academics TV, whoever's running that page. I could never take them niggas serious. Never. That's corny. You have no evidence or no proof of that. But yet and still, you're still promoting that. This is what I mean by like y'all always talking about the corruption and the bullshit that all of these record labels are doing to Drake. When y'all doing the same exact thing to Kendrick, y'all doing the same thing, bro. That really pissed me off, yo. That really just pissed me off. Like I could never ever take them niggas serious. To the point where I wouldn't even want to even talk to them niggas, cause that's corny. You put out a Hot 100 list, and what you did was you actually manipulated the list to put Bot Like Us. Instead of actually saying, well, this song is what it is, and it was. Y'all that upset and that mad that you would literally change the name of the song to put out a false narrative that that song was botted. Even though there's no evidence of that. No one has ever said that, and y'all know it, but y'all still do it. Y'all still put it out. Even though there's no fucking evidence, y'all still put it out. That's disgusting, bro. And that's not journalism. And I don't understand how academics could even approve something like this. Well, then again, I can understand it because he's just like them. He's the same. That's his people. He's the same. He's a snake like them, bro. You can't sit here and tell me that people should take you serious when you do stuff like that. That's crazy, bro. Respect the song, bro. Respect the name. Okay, he beat Drake in a battle, but respect the song. You might as well have changed all the songs on there. Everybody changed the songs to your opinion. But like us. Like, come on, bro. Cut it the fuck out, man. It's so disgusting to see, bro. It really is.
In the top 5, and this is weeks now after the Super Bowl. And I think this tweet perfectly sums up what we've been seeing so far in round 2. They said, for the past decade, any opposing criticism of Drake or his music was immediately shut down, and the industry crowned him king, and everyone was glad to kiss the ring. But there was one sleeping giant willing and able to free us from that sleepy matrix. The rule: crush your enemy totally. And this is why I keep bringing up the charts, right? Because it's one thing for Kendrick to crush him in a rap battle. He's been crushed before. We saw that with Pusha T. He bounced back, no problem. How? Because he delivered us hits. After his battle with Pusha T, we had his Scorpion album. We had In My Feelings. We had Nonstop. You had Sicko Mode. If he didn't have that, everyone would have remembered Drake as the guy who got exposed for having a kid he was hiding from the world. He distracted us by putting up the numbers, but he can't do that this time around because Kendrick has that same commercial appeal and is slowly creeping up to outdo Drake on the charts. Again, he might become the highest selling rapper of this year, which would mark the first time that Drake doesn't hold that position in over 10 years. And how fitting is he to do that the year after this battle took place? And drop a comment if you think we're getting solo albums from both Drake and Kendrick this.
I'm gonna stop it there. You guys can actually check the rest of it out on not Fantastic, about Rap Calls. All right, here we go. Yeah, man, that's made me mad, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. That's disgusting work, bro. Anytime you see something like that, that's disgusting work. You sitting here telling me that you gonna put Bot Like Us and then put it as a post. Like, what was the point of that, bro? That's so corny. But either way, man, thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all being here with me every day. I'm out of here. See y'all. Peace. Bye.